New era, what's up, y'all? It is your boy, Vernon Webb, aka The Armory. I'm coming to you guys live from the '05 in the back here, coming from the crib. It's a beautiful day outside, it's nice and crisp for the autumn. It's football weather, it feels that way, but I'm not the weatherman, so I'm gonna go straight into this weekly recap, kind of catch you up on things, and also give you some power rankings. So, what happened last week? Let's start off with it. The first one, the Truest gave the Armory a straight up beatdown, man. It was looking good for me. I came out Thursday night. Man, Brady was putting up 38 points. Gordon got a last minute touchdown. I'm up 52. I'm feeling good. Sony Michel, he did his thing. He was solid, as I thought he would be once the injury kind of subsided. I thought that he would be healthy. Unfortunately, I couldn't pick him up in the draft. I wish I did, though. But he looked great. But man, I'm telling you, by Sunday, things just got progressively worse. Odell went toe-to-toe with Barkley. They were matching up point to point. But after that, it was a wrap for your kid. Man, it was a wrap. I'm telling you, Gurley started breaking out, man. Once those wide receivers got those concussions, it was all about Gurley. And it was a wrap. And then Thielen just pretty much finished me off. And so with that one, the Truest, my guy Marvin, he got the win. And hey, we're going to have to strike him up again. Got to take on the next opponent. All right, then New Era took on Atwatless. And really, this is a real interesting matchup to me. I kind of felt like this was a matter of Atwatless kind of mismanaging those roster spots, you know. You got the three-headed monster with Devontae Adams, with Tyreek Hill, and AB. You know those guys every week, they're going to bring it. So I kind of felt like those three you should see in every week. Every week you should see them in the lineup. But for whatever reason, that didn't happen. So he set Devontae Adams down. And that proved to be costly. Marshawn Lynch, he's been holding it down for the most part. But that week, it just wasn't happening for Marshawn. James White stepped up. But ultimately, New Era just has too much firepower. Between Mahomes, and you got Kareem Hunt, and you got David Johnson, and you got A.J. Green, and you got...
Draw two. Draw another two. Add another two on that. Add an extra two. Draw a four piece. Draw four. Draw four. Draw another four. The color blue, Uno. Uno out. It's beyond me.
Number one, it just proved to be way too much for Atwatless. He's still a bad man, but it's a lot more bad than good. And we'll get to that when I get to the power rankings. The next matchup from last week, Hitman versus AC Forever. This was one of those games I thought was going to be the game for the week, but it really just was a disappointment, man. The question around the league, if you haven't asked yourself, I know you probably looked at the scores. I know you probably watched these games and you thought to yourself, what is going on with Dalvin Cook? I honestly do not have an answer for that. They saying that he's still just not 100% healthy. Some people saying it's the ankle. Some people saying it's still the ACL. We have no idea. But what I do know is Dalvin Cook is not getting it done and is really hurting Raph. And so when you look at how that kind of played out, McCaffrey, Cam, Diggs, they all showed up. They all gave him big-time points. And it was enough. It was enough to hold off Aaron, who's dealing with a lot of injuries, dealing with not having a lot of draft picks, so he really doesn't have a lot of depth. And so, you know, when Juju don't show up and it's not a big day for him, really, he kind of had a quiet afternoon. It made for a walk-away victory. The Joker got away from Batman this time, and hopefully AC will catch him on the next round. that'll take it to the defending champ, Mortal Bell versus Injured Reserve. And I'm pretty sure everybody had it in the books that Mortal Bell was going to give this guy a thumping, because Injured Reserve, man, he has looked dead in the water, like no hope whatsoever.
Before there were reasons to fight, I could understand, but I don't understand this. Even if you win, what have you won? Apollo's still gone. Why can't you change your thinking? Everybody else does.
Because I'm a fighter. That's the way I'm made, Adrian. That's what you married. We can't change what we are.
Yes, you can.
You can't change anything, Adrian. All we can do is just go with what we are.
You can't go with what you are. Have you read the papers? Do you know what everybody says? It's suicide. You've seen him. You know how strong he is. You can't win.
But it's any given Sunday. Any given Sunday, somebody can pop up. Somebody can get a victory if they're putting in that effort. And one thing you got to respect about my guy, Young Jock, hey, he going to bring it. Every week he's going to compete. So with that being said, hey, Mixon, Yeldon, they showed up, man, and they put in major points. It was good to see Mixon healthy again. I was concerned about his first game back, whether he would get full run, but he got that full run, and he's shown that he's explosive. Now, a lot of people might think that I'm not a Mixon guy, but I do like Mixon. It's not that I don't like Mixon. It's just that I just like Davante Adams better. But at least for this week and at least for this matchup, Mixon absolutely did his thing. And along with Yeldon, and of course, we all know that bad man up in Houston, man, DeAndre Hopkins is no joke. He brought it for real versus the Cowboys. So that led him to victory. And that was in spite of a powerful lineup by Mortal Bell. But simply put, Devontae Freeman, he's been nothing but a disappointment this season. Whether it's the injury or just simply not getting it going or getting not enough touches, he's just been an absolute disappointment. So when he's in that lineup, it's heckle. Is Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You just don't know what you're going to get. And when you even look deeper into the lineup, of course, you know, tight ends, you know, we're expecting them to give us about 10 to 15 points. But if you're Gronk, and especially if he's a keeper, you're looking for a little bit more. And Gronk just hasn't been that this year. He's been okay. He's been that, you know. So Golden Tate, he came back down to earth a little bit. Gronk's been Devontae Freeman doesn't show up. He leaves him hanging. Equals a loss. So Mortal Bell took a little hit. Young Jock, he got that hit. He finally got that hit. So I'm glad to see that. And I feel like even though his team is going through a lot of injuries, of course, Fournette looking like he's going to be out until week 10, I still feel like Young Jock is still going to be able to be a thorn in people's side. So looking forward to his matchups coming up. And then that takes us to the last matchup for the week. Let me get my papers right so I can keep this flowing. Just Win Baby versus 100 Proof. That's the way you need to say it properly. 100 Proof. 100 Proof has, man, he's falling on tough times, man. I'm telling you, 2 years ago, he was steamrolling this league, and now it's just been harder and harder for him to kind of really keep up. On the other end, Germ Joy, the gentleman Germ Joy, he's really showing you what drafting can really do for you, man. Each week, Germ Joy is finding a way to squeak out a win. It's like the guy that you're trying to catch. It's like that bad guy in that series that you think this is going to be the episode that they're going to get him, and somehow, some way, he finds a way out of it.
No!
Are you ever not going to fall for that?
And this was no different. So Ertz, he comes in, he drops 27 points. Woods comes in, he drops another 19 points. Ingram, he comes back from his hiatus, his suspension, he drops 24 points. And even though Kamara, you know, took a little hit with Ingram's presence, it's still enough to give 100 Proof no ends this week. He caught that loss. And so although Drew Brees dropped 33 points, Gordon dropped 25, and the Chiefs defense out of nowhere smacked the Jags upside the head, it just wasn't enough to get that win. So with this one, Jerm Joy goes to 5-0, which leads us into our power rankings going into week 6. So number 10, got to do this to you, but injured reserve, man. I'm telling you, man, it's been a rough year. And so unfortunately, Young Jock, you only got one hit. It's going down, brother. It's going down. I hate to do it. Hopefully you get more wins under your belt. Hopefully more hits are coming. But for now, I got to put you at that 10 spot. At the number 9 spot, I got Al Watless. You know, the name is supposed to indicate how big and bad this team is, but unfortunately, it's just been nothing but bad for this team. I can't really put it on the talent because there's been enough talent on the team to get wins, but I don't know if Ricky's just busy or he's just, you know, hasn't been able to put more oomph into it as much as he can. But I just feel like this team is not maximizing its opportunities. And so when you sitting Davante Adams down versus the Detroit Lions with no probable cause to do it, I know, yeah, I heard there was a little injury thing, but if he's active and he could play, you got to put Davante Adams in. And so, especially when you're looking for wins. So I got to put you at the number 9 spot. And hopefully better days ahead. Ricky's a tough guy. We've gone at it multiple times. And I'm sure that just this video, me being the one saying it and ranking him number 9 is going to put a little fire underneath his belly to kind of get him going. All right, at the number 8 spot, you're going to be a little surprised by this. But it's me. It's me. I'm at the number 8 spot, and I'm going to tell you why, man. I had a whole lot of picks to make this happen, and it is not happening. It's not working. It's not working at all. I still have no number 2 running back that I can depend on. My wide receivers are all over the place. Every week, I have no idea what they're going to do. My tight end situation is jacked up. Jared Cook is helping. He's helping. He's helping a lot. He's solidifying until Greg Olsen can figure out whether his foot is healthy enough to go. But right now, it's just not looking the way it's supposed to look. So with 3 losses, and quite frankly, with the points for, with me scoring 90 points last week and then coming back with just 130 points in this week, it's just not good enough. I got to put myself at the number 8 spot, and quite frankly, it could be lower if Watless was managing his team. I think I probably would be lower. Next, at the number 7 spot, I kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier, but 100 proof, man. I just don't know. It's like you got the names. You got Gordon. You got Drew Brees. You know, you got Julio Jones, but it's just not clicking. If for whatever reason it's just not clicking, I think better days are ahead for you. I think, you know, you kind of finding those extra pieces, you know, maybe getting Sterling Shepard in there on some big matchups. I think that's going to pay off. But right now, I got you sitting at the number 7 spot. Number 6 spot really is more of a testament than more of a downer, and this is AC Forever. The 4-time champ has plenty of grit, and when you really think about his team, you take a look at his team and the lack of depth that they have, it really says a lot that he's at the number 6 spot and that he's been able to be a fighter pretty much every week. So, but at the end of the day, man, the injuries between running back, you can't dodge those questions. You know, you got to answer them, and it's a hard question to answer. So right now, you're at the number 6 spot, but every week things could break one way or the next. You can get a hot waiver wire pick, you can make a trade, and you can be right back in this thing. Coming in at the number 5 spot, Hitman Stakeout. As I already mentioned before, Dalvin Cook is a problem. He's an absolute problem. You're supposed to have a 3-headed monster between McCaffrey, Cook, and Keenan Allen. And Dalvin Cook is not living up to the billing. And Keenan Allen, really, to be honest with you, he's kind of did this last year, but he's starting off slow. So he's been solid. He hasn't killed you, but he could be better. So I think certainly having Diggs is kind of helping to keep you afloat. I think he's kind of stepping in for Keenan Allen, but you really need to get Keenan Allen going, and you most certainly need Dalvin Cook to give you something to really kind of push you into that playoffs. So I got to put you at the number 5 spot for now, but I do feel like Dalvin Cook is going to get healthy. I do feel like that's going to take a turn for the right, and you'll be fighting for a playoff spot. You keep at it. All right, at the number 4 spot, new era. my guy, formerly known as Crank Fassel. He's in that spot, man, and he is locked in. He's locked in and loaded. When you got Mahomes, man, Mahomes, look, you can't deny this kid. This kid is the truth. Every week he's finding a way to win, to put that team over the top, and he's making incredible throws. So to me, when you had that combination of Mahomes throwing touchdowns, and when he's not, you got Kareem Hunt in the backfield doing his thing, catching passes, breaking tackles, making it happen for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that Chiefs offense is highly potent and is going to be consistent throughout the year. So that's going to help him pretty much sustain his success throughout the year as far as that fantasy team goes. And then, of course, you got A.J. Green coming in, and David Johnson. He's, I was a little concerned with the quarterback change. You really don't know how that's going to break out. It's a defensive coach there in Arizona. I wasn't really sure about that, but I must admit that David Johnson, he's been able to be consistent. He hasn't blown up. He hasn't completely blown up yet, but he's been consistent enough for him to be locked into that position at the RB1 spot along with Kareem Hunt and get things done. And then, of course, you got Emmanuel Sanders, who, quite frankly, has emerged as the #1 receiver in Denver Broncos. Now, of course, we know the quarterback situation is okay. It's okay. It's not great, but it's enough. Because if he's the #1 guy and he's going to get, 6 to 8 targets a week, then you're going to be fine. You're going to do numbers. So along with a solid tight end with Jimmy Graham, as long as he stays healthy, I think you're going to be fine at the number 3 spot. At the number 4 spot. And you could possibly be moving up. I can see that definitely happening. At the number 3 spot, more cowbell. I know. You're probably thinking, well, there's only 2 teams left. That's Marvin. And that's Jerm Joy. And I just beat Marvin. So why am I at the number 3 spot? Well, this is more about not taking where you are, but where you're going. And right now, I kind of feel like you're on shaky ground. Devontae Freeman, I'm telling you, it's a problem. It's a big problem. Until he's healthy, he cannot be trusted. So to me, when you have Golden Tate, there's a lot of mouths to feed there in Detroit. Golden Tate's going to get his touches, but you can't expect 33 points every week. Man, this week certainly proved that. So he's going to have, he's going to have his good weeks. He's going to have his bad weeks, but you can't put him in there like he's a #1. And that wide receiver depth is a problem for you. So I just kind of feel like with Gronk not really putting up huge numbers like he's used to, and Golden Tate kind of being here, there, and then blowing up one week, and then Devontae Freeman, and then, of course, the elephant in the room, Le'Veon Bell. We have no idea what's going to happen with him. Man, it's just a problem. It's just a problem. So right now you're rolling. You've been putting up points. You've been taking out some really tough opponents, but it's more about where you're going. And right now I feel like it's not like you're going to fall off the cliff. That's not going to happen. But what I will say is that there's a little storm that's brewing that I think that you can mitigate. I definitely feel like you can make some moves to make that happen, to kind of survive. And I definitely feel like you got a lot of depth on your bench to kind of make that happen with Lindsey, just to name a few guys, along with Jordy Nelson, who's had some good games as well, depending on the matchup. I think you're going to be all right. So it's not like I'm concerned. I'm concerned about me. I'm at the number 8 spot. Not concerned about you at the number 3 spot. You're going to be just fine. But those are some of the things that kind of said, okay, I can't put you at the number 2 spot because I kind of feel like your team is trending a little bit down, just a little bit. Just a little slip, A couple weeks from now, you could be trending up. But for now, I got you at the number 3 spot. At the number 2 spot, the truest, the capo, Marvin Payne, the fantasy Wolverine, as I would put it. This guy, he just refuses to die, man. And I'm telling you, no lead is safe when you play him. Take it from me. Personal experience, no lead is safe when you play Marvin Payne. With Gurley, I'm telling you, every week you can expect that it's going to be a problem, that he's going to jump out and do something crazy. Then you got Odell. Right now, the Giants' offense is not looking great. That O-line is garbage, hot garbage. Somebody should grab me a trash can, put some paper in it, and light a fire because it's terrible. But we all know a couple weeks from now, this could all be different. And right now, it really doesn't matter because every week, consistently, Marvin is putting up a $160 plus, a $160 plus. That's what you can expect. So if you're not putting up 150, 155, pretty much you stand no chance. You can hope for a down day. It's not likely to happen. So when you got Adam Thielen and, of course, my guy, Deshaun Watson, you just got to load a team. And that team is going to be consistent. It's trending up. And any of those guys can explode. So to me, he comes in perfectly at the number 2 spot, pushing for that number 1 spot, which is currently owned by the guy just when maybe. But there's no maybes about it. When you're 5-0, there are no maybes. This guy currently is the number 1 guy. Jerm Joy really did his thing in the draft. And take a look at it with Ertz, Ingram, Woods, Wentz, keep going, Kittle, Will Fuller. It's just plenty of depth there to really sustain his keepers with Howard and Mike Evans, along with Kamara, man. It's plenty of firepower on that team. It's plenty of weapons to use, even with bye weeks coming up. Is not a problem for him. I think this week is going to be a heavy hitter because he loses both Kamara and Ingram. I won't get into that matchup, but I do feel like those weeks can be a little bit tough. But for the most part, this guy, he's steamrolling. Now, I know, probably some of y'all thinking, man, this dude just barely won last week. And then 2 weeks ago, he barely won that game. How's this dude? How can you say he's just going to steamroll the league? Well, again, it's not about where you are. It's about where you're going. And I just feel like no different than what we seen last year. Don't expect Kamara to drop 7 points and then Ingram to blow up. Or it's going to be the reverse, where Ingram only gives you 7 points and Kamara blows up. I think both of these players are going to do well. And when you got them both in and they're both going, man, these guys are going to be incredibly hard to stop. And like I said, he really even hasn't had a chance to really even dig into his bag. He really hasn't had the chance to go into his full lineup. I'm not sure he's played Will Fuller yet. But if he has, that's another guy that when he's healthy, he's so explosive. He's just a guy that can terrorize teams. We saw what Wentz can do when he's healthy. This is just one of those teams where, man, if you catch him, and it's most likely that you will catch him on a wrong day, it's over for you. So it's going to take a lot. And I can really only see about 3 or 4 teams that can really take this guy down on a consistent basis. And that's the guy at the number 2 spot, the guy at the number 3 spot, both Marvin and Plunk's team. They're both heavy hitters. They both got enough firepower to really swing with him. I think New rather, he's coming on really strong. I feel like that he could also push Jeremy. But besides that, other teams are going to have an any given Sunday kind of attitude. They're just going to have to come in, line those guys up, and hopefully they can take his head off for that week. But until then, he the king. He the man right now. So anyway, that is my power rankings and my Week 5 recap. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll see y'all soon. Hopefully with a win. All right, peace.